Hello everyone, it's Xanet, and today is Friday, so we're talking love, sex, and intimacy with Xanet. And today I have a very special guest sitting right next to me, my dear friend and colleague, Thomas Stout. Say hi, Thomas.
Hi. Never done this before, so this is all new.
He's a virgin, but he's doing great. Give him some, if you guys are on live, give him some hearts or some thumbs up. And yes, we're going to tag you in the video.
Okay.
So the reason Thomas is here is because we are teaching a Timeless Loving Tantra workshop this weekend at Earthrise. We're teaching our Timeless Loving, which is
through Ecstatic Living, which is a workshop that has been taught for the introduction to Tantra.
Yes, through Ecstatic Living Institute. And so I said to Thomas, well, if you're here on Friday, we're going to do a Facebook Live and we're going to talk about Tantra.
No, she said 5 minutes ago, I've got to do this Facebook Live. Would you do this with me?
I didn't want to give him too much advance notice because I know it's scary.
Yeah.
So anyway, I thought it was just a great opportunity because so many of you know that Tantra was my doorway to opening, sexual awakening, and healing, but I'd like to be able to really just have this conversation with Thomas around why Tantra and what, drew him towards it, and why it's an important part of his life and why it's an important part of my life. So you want to continue looking at the camera, not at me.
Okay.
So Thomas, how did Tantra come into your life? What was your journey into the world of Tantra, also known as sacred sexuality?
I've been a massage therapist for a very long time, and I started to explore more in the massage world, and I couldn't figure out what to do given the boundaries of massage. And so I discovered more sexological body work, and that led me into Tantra. And my wife and I went out to California 6 years ago, and it was our 20th anniversary, and we just fell in love all over again through the process of going through actually the workshop we're teaching this weekend called Timeless Loving. And so Sarah and I just recommitted to our relationship, and it was just awesome. And then we dove into learning Skydancing Tantra. So we studied with Stephen Lokita, and we studied with Margot Anand, we studied with Laurent and Laurence from France. So lots of people we've studied with on this path. And I personally believe that Tantra is all about accepting yourself as you are, and yet creating more passion and more love and more ecstasy in your life. So it's a growth path. It's an acceptance, but then a growth path.
Yeah, I love that. I love that what you said is that you and Sarah, his amazing wife, and also an incredible teacher as well, fell in love again. That Tantra really has the ability to be able to allow us to connect with a partner or connect with ourselves, because I have been single on and off in relationships over the last 7 years, but actually almost every Tantra workshop I've ever taken has been as a single. I've never actually done a Tantra workshop with a partner. And it also allows you to be able to really connect with your own body and with your own sexuality and with your own spirituality, in a very different and powerful way. And, one of the things that I love about Tantra, which, the principles of Tantra, we incorporate in all of the work that I do as a sex and intimacy coach, and most people do in the whole world of sexuality. Even Esther Perel, you guys know Esther Perel, the amazing Esther Perel, talks about the principles of Tantra in her most recent podcast that she's doing, and I highly recommend it if you're on Audible. I can't remember the moment what the name is, but it's an awesome free podcast. And she's constantly talking about the principles of Tantra, of slowing down, of taking a breath, of really feeling sensation into your body. And these are the same principles that we use in erotic massage and any type of really many sexuality practices as well.
So one of the things Xanet said before was this sense of spirituality and that you can do Tantra by yourself. One of the stories I used to tell about that first weekend of Timeless Loving is by the end of the weekend, I was seeing Sarah as a goddess. And I literally was on my knees, bowing to the goddess and just in awe. And I told that story for a long time. And then all of a sudden I realized, oh, to do that, I had to start seeing the divine in myself. And that's what allowed me to see the divine in her. So Tantra really starts out as this practice for how can you connect with yourself? How can you love yourself more? And then you can start to love other people even more.
Right. And of course, for many of you, right, who may not relate to the, Tantra has a little bit of a woo-woo-ness to it, right? And I get that, right? And many of us, that's not something that feels super comfortable for us. I know for me, I wasn't very comfortable with that. It took me a long time to be able to incorporate that part into my world and into my practice, and I still have a little ruffles around it, and it's not a huge part of the way I work with clients unless they ask for it. You can also look at Tantra as a doorway into embodied sexuality, which is something that I think really makes sex a lot more fun and a lot more enjoyable and a lot more pleasurable, is really being in your body and using some of the principles of Tantra, of breath and sound and movement, of really slowing everything down and being way more connected to your body. So you can also then be more connected to your partner's body, because when we're going so fast, we really miss all of these subtle cues and the energy. The other thing about Tantra that I think is so, so powerful is the fact that it's about an energy exchange. It's about running energy through your body and even connecting with your energy body. And for so many people, energy bodies are like, what? I don't even understand what an energy body is, right? But in fact, we're all made out of energy. We are an electromagnetic field, and there is an electromagnetic field that surrounds us all the time. And so I think another thing about Tantra is that, like, understanding that you can connect energetically, which really makes the contact so much more deep and so much more powerful and pleasurable.
One of our students in a workshop that Sarah and I recently taught in Minnesota said at the end of the workshop that she believed that she'd always had a great sex life. She was very intimate with people. She loved people. And yet the workshop taught her that what she was thinking of as sexuality was about 5% about what's possible. And that our workshop helped her see what the other 95% was. And some of that includes the energy, slowing down, being conscious, being really present.
And let's not forget orgasms. Come on, let's get real here, right? Like one of the practices that we learn in Tantra is extended orgasms and how to become I can't say that word.
Multi-orgasmic.
Thank you. Multi-orgasmic. Through extending your breath, through moving energy around your body, both for women and men, right? How women can ride the wave of energy and ride the wave of orgasm, and how men can learn to withhold ejaculation and also be able to have multiple full body orgasms going through their body. Those are more advanced practices of Tantra. But, that's one of the huge benefits. And, honestly, you guys, who wouldn't want to have more orgasms and be able to have sex for longer periods of time? It's actually very a powerful part of the tantric practice, I would say.
One of the ways I see that is a lot of people will become connoisseurs of certain things. Wine connoisseurs, gourmet food cooks, stuff like that. And tantrikas, I believe, are more connoisseurs of life, including sexuality. So we get into more of a meditative state with life, and we go out in nature and really feel the presence of the trees. And at the same time, when we're with another human being, we feel their presence. And so we're really with them. And we slow things down, like Xanet was saying, become more multi-orgasmic. That's another aspect of Tantra as well.
Yeah, and Tantra means to weave. Mm-hmm. When we talk about Tantra, we talk about weaving. And what we're weaving is many aspects, but we're weaving, our physical body, we're weaving our energetic body, and then we're weaving our emotional body, and we're also connecting with our partner. So we're weaving our partner's body, and or we're weaving our connection with our higher self, or with spirit, or with the divine, or however, whatever really resonates with you. But we're also weaving all of that into this like beautiful tapestry, so that we're penetrating ourselves and others at a lot of different levels. And that again also makes it a very very powerful practice.
And what Xanet just described is also around the chakras. And the chakras are these energy centers in your body, and each one represents a different facet of your life. And the version of Tantra that we practice, Skydancing Tantra, I believe weaves all of the chakras, everything from the root to the crown, into a harmonious, blended whole. It's been said that a lot of people in their inner flute, their inner channel, have rocks and blocks, and it's a pathway that's circuitous and confusing. And one of the projects we embark on is to get this pathway to be more like a superhighway. And so all of the aspects of the chakras are all firing all the time, or when you choose to focus on one, you can have that happen.
Yeah. And if you're in the anti-woo-woo world, I always like to do this, right? Because of where I come from, sometimes we talk about the chakras and people are like, or chakras, I think is how we're supposed to pronounce it. People are like, oh, I don't believe that, blah, blah, blah. But in fact, there's a whole vernacular for that, right? So we talk about having a frog in our throat. In some ways, we've appropriated the blockages of the chakras from centuries ago, but a frog in our throat, our throat is a fifth chakra, and this chakra is actually about being able to speak your piece, or having fire in your belly, which is our third chakra, which is our power center. Or on the opposite side, like having butterflies in your stomach because you're nervous, because your power center is more blocked, right? So they're actually, like, from the vernacular, there's a lot of ways in which this is part of our system. And when we actually look at the chakras, there are nerves that run across all of our major organs. So it makes sense that there's emotional centers here. And there are somatic experiences that we have in each of these areas as well. So that's for the non-woo-woo of you.
Well, and one of our teachers describes it as people discover these chakras in deep meditation, just by sensing into their bodies and getting really quiet and allowing it. And I agree, Xanet, I was never one for the woo-woo. I thought it was a bunch of new age falderall. I was, doing massage. I heard about chakras long ago, and I just thought, oh yeah, right. And yet, when I got into Tantra, I thought, okay, let's give it a chance. Let's start to work with it. And I realized that a lot of the things we do are called practices. Oh, maybe I should practice them. So I actually started to do a regular practice. I meditate, I do chakra breathing, I do sexual breathing, I do a whole bunch of practices that I don't know whether I'll ever actually feel a chakra firing and go, oh wow, I've got sparks coming out of my head or whatever happens. But I feel like I'm becoming a better person. I feel like I'm more present and more available to my wife, to my students, to my kids, to everybody in my life. And that's worth it to me.
So I see there's a bunch of people watching, so hi. I can't tell who it is, I'm not sure why. But this is Thomas's first time doing a Facebook Live, so if you could send some hearts or some thumbs up, I know he would really like that. It would really make him feel good.
I'd have to figure out where to look on the screen to figure it out.
They would be coming up right here. You might be seeing them if they're paying attention. And if not, maybe not. Sometimes I'm not exactly sure where things show up. There we go. Yeah. See, hearts, thumbs up. Thank you guys.
Yeah, I see them. Yeah.
Feeling better?
Yeah. Well, and I noticed that this time we're horizontal, or landscape view, so that's good.
Yes, I know you guys. I really screwed up last week's video, but thank you all for turning your clocks or turning your devices, because I actually got a lot of views of that video. So, Thomas, tell me, what is Oh, what I wanted to say was, like, one of the things I really appreciate about you is that I know that, so I'm somebody who's super sensitive to energy. I actually do feel when chakras are open and when chakras are closed, and I feel energy running through my body, and I get lots of kriyas, and, you know, that happened pretty quickly for me. But I know that's something that you have not had as easy access to, right? And so I really appreciate like how you, even though you haven't had access to it, you've really like stuck with it, and you've been super persistent with it, and you've noticed changes, right, over time.
One of the things I do is, like, if I'm with a person that is feeling kriyas, I'll ask my body.
Can you just explain what a kriya is? Because a lot of people don't know what
a kriya is also called a full body orgasm sometimes. It's a spontaneous movement in your body that just happens. And what I noticed is that it happened for me first, that I would get those, is when I would get totally relaxed in an aquatic bodywork session. And like all the tension was gone and my mind was quiet, and all of a sudden something would start to quiver or shake. And I would literally think, am I doing that or am I allowing it? And I couldn't figure it out. And I thought, okay, well, just allow it. Just see what happens. And then my body would open up to that more and more. And so I have experienced more of those. And actually, it was in a class with you that we were doing a tantric massage where at the end, everybody was sending love. And I literally felt like I was having a heartgasm. Because it was incredible. And it totally surprised me. And of course, I've wanted to happen ever since again, and it hasn't really, but I'm open to the idea of the possibilities. So we'll see.
Oh, it'll happen again for sure. Yeah. Hi, Ilka. Good to see you too. I'm super sensitive, and so like I will often have kriyas. Like I'm sure this happens to you with clients, right? Like if I'm on a massage table and I'm getting a massage, and somebody's like hitting some sort of like there's some release that happens. For me, the release happens through like my body just actually just moving around, right? Like having this like whoa. It feels like a charge going through your body, and it's the beginning. It's actually not a full body orgasm, but it's the beginning of being able to access a real genuine full body orgasm, which really can be maintained for longer periods of time as you use breathing as well into it. The other thing I wanted to talk about was like one of the things that I really love about Tantra is the philosophy that we live in contradiction, and we can be both like sad and happy at the same time, that there's not a lot of black and white, that there's just a lot of gray. And for somebody who really likes to have black and white, because like my life feels a lot better when I'm like, I'm in that box or I'm in that box, the being in the gray, or being in the place of being able to be with both things that are happening at the same time without judging and having an outcome, I think that's another really huge, for me, it's been one of the things that's really been very useful in terms of how I live my life from the perspective of Tantra, of just trying to be like, okay, both of these things can happen and can coexist at the same time, and I don't have to have an outcome necessarily.
Yeah, one of that reminds me of a quote from Margot, or I'm going to try to get to what she said. It's like you meet somebody and your brain is thinking certain thoughts about them and what you should do, and maybe you should be with them or shouldn't be with them. And your heart has a totally different reaction where you just feel like, oh, I love you and I just want to be with you. And then your sex, your genitals, may have a totally different reaction. And so how do you navigate those three different aspects of yourself that are happening simultaneously? And what we do in Tantra is we try to weave together all those aspects into a harmonious being, a harmonious life.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see. Anything else that you want to add? Anything else you want to talk about in terms of Tantra?
Well, I'm feeling less nervous than
good.
we started.
Maybe you'll do some of this.
My legs stopped quivering.
Thomas lives in Minnesota. That is a very famous state right now because of who, senator who did something not great.
Yeah.
And teaches which is amazing. He and his wife Sarah have like created, if you any Minnesotans out there, or you know people in Minnesota, they've created this amazing, vibrant, growing Tantra community in the Twin Cities.
Yeah, we actually offer 2-hour evening events on Saturday a couple times a month. And then we also offer active meditations, and a few times a year we go on retreat for a full weekend retreat. Our next one is in February, and it'll be a Timeless Loving that Sarah and I will teach.
Awesome.
And then we're also bringing ecstatic touch and other aspects of tantric life to the Twin Cities, because I think everybody really wants this.
They do.
Everybody wants to live a more ecstatic, more loving, more open life. And it may be scary to do that, but I think it's what we want.
I think it's definitely what we want. We certainly need it at this time where everything seems so uneven and unclear, and where Kali is just all over the place right now. It just feels that as well. So, well, thank you, Thomas, for joining me for Facebook Live.
Yeah.
You guys, thanks for joining. Just a quick reminder, please go. I will post this on the video. Please come and join my Facebook group, Talking Love, Sex, and Intimacy with Xanet. And for those of you who have inquired, my book is going really well, and they've actually extended the campaign. So if you haven't purchased a copy of my book yet, or if you'd like to take me up on my offer to get my free online class free, which is a really great deal, just go to my Facebook page and I'll have that information there. And y'all have a great Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Yeah. May you have a lot of gratitude and, company and family and friends. I know I have a lot to be grateful for. And we will see you next Friday, post-Thanksgiving. I'll be here.
And if you're in the Twin Cities or know somebody in the Twin Cities, Sarah's and my website is called lovepassionately.com.
And we'll put that on the Facebook Live video as well.
Yeah.
Bye.
You know how to do that.
Ciao.
I don't know how to do that.
Have a great weekend,
Bye.
everybody.
Thanks, everybody.